establishing that relationship. A relationship with your host is key. And step 2 is creating the event. You know, you're going to create the event on Facebook and invite the host. And don't forget the past host. The past host will sell the show for you too, because you can post on the event and say, Sally host is going to be getting this opportunity at 60% off because she's a booking from the other show. So that's one way of just being able to connect quickly. Also, you know, the 3 steps to directions. In the middle of the event, you want to give them very, very simple ordering instructions. For step 1 is to go to my personal website. Step 2 is to click shop online and enter the host name. Step 3, shop away. It's so easy. And then sometimes, occasionally, I'll add the direct ordering link, but we all know that links can expire or links can have troubles. So please make sure that you're giving those 3-step directions and the direct ordering link. And then the last thing is you really want to make sure that the start and end date. You know, you want to, typically 10 days is the max, and so you start the dates and you end the date and you update it. The Facebook system is constantly changing, so do not think that you're going to have it mastered, because just when you do, Facebook sends an update. So it's just really important.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Step 1 is to friend your host. Step 2, create the event.
Yep.
So am I right in guessing that step 3 is inviting the guests?
Yes. Step 3 is inviting the guests. And we have to invite a lot more than a traditional cooking show. I tell my hosts, no, absolutely no less than 100, and I really like to see way more than that. Because we're finding just a small percentage are not even going to see the event at all. There's going to be people that ignore it. So we really need to have a large guest list. And then you send a message to your host letting her know it's all set up and ready to go, and for her to invite her guests. And so it's really, really easy.
So a really funny story about this is I had this girl who wanted to host a show, and I set the event up and I sent her a message, a private message that said, hey, it's all set up, it's ready to go. Invite everyone. And, you know, near and far, because you want to cover everyone, and she invited all 981 of her friends.
Wow.
Within 3 hours, we had $300 in sales. Within 6 hours, we were topping out at $850, and by the end of the day, we were almost to $1,000. So it's just really making sure. I'm like, wow. Yeah, so really making sure that you're messaging them and doing those things.
Okay, so I've invited my 7 guests. 4 befriended me before I even got it out. And I'm dealing with those last 3 people that don't know how to befriend me. So what is that next step?
Tony, everybody's feeling really sorry for you right now.
The truth sometimes hurts.
They're all going to friend you. I mean, it's an idea.
But that's not really going to work, because they're not going to buy.
That's true. Good point. Okay, so sorry.
So the next step.
So the orders don't just come rolling in, Tony. Once you invite your friends, it's definitely, it's not going to keep rolling in. It's actually going to, you have to host coach. You have to, you know, start engaging your host and having that relationship with them, just like you would a cooking show. Please do not think that you can invite them to an event and say, fond farewell, and all of it will happen for you. It's just as important that you spend that hour host coaching and engaging with them and talking to them and messaging them and checking in with them. And I have a quick cheat sheet that I send them and say, hey, here's some great ideas that you can do to keep your shows engaged.
I think that's so important to remember, that a Facebook show, just because it has a different name, doesn't mean that we treat it differently than a cooking show. Like a little bug flying around.
There is.
We have another guest. You don't mind if I take care of number 8? We better move on.
Bottom line, it's just like a cooking show. You have to engage your host. You have to engage guests, right? If you have a host, a Facebook host that only has a few friends, like Tony, right? Make sure, I like to send a catalog to my Facebook host and write them a personal note that just says, you know, I want you to use this catalog as your wish list. I want you to pick out everything you could possibly want in your kitchen, and I'm going to help you get it. And then send some order forms as well. Because let's face it, they can go take catalogs and collect orders that way also. So
Yes.
the more you can get them to want a lot of products, they'll do what we outlined for them.
Absolutely. You know, your guests and your host deserve the same amount of attention. So when you create that and you're engaging your guests, you're welcoming them. When they click that attend button, it's just like you open the door for your cooking shows. You want to say, hi, how are you? My name's Desiree. I post a simple message on their welcome and I say, hey, welcome to the show. Here, if you have any questions, please let me know. Sometimes I add my email address or I just say private message me. So you want to just really establish that, you know, in the thing. So this is another really quick thing. Engaging with your guests is really important because at our dinner table, everything goes on Facebook. So to the point that my kids now don't pick up the fork until I take the photo. And so, you know, like the other night at dinner, it was, Mommy, are you ready? Can we eat now? And so, you know, but I've invited them to sit at my table.
That is
Just,
so cool.
You know, and that photo is appealing.
It sounds to me like the event page is like a virtual living room, and that a successful Facebook show has all the elements of really a successful cooking show. Is that correct?
Right, absolutely. And that also includes follow-up. So that's step 6, following up. You know, one of my biggest frustrations with catalog shows is that I was getting incomplete contact information, like a first name and a last initial, or no last name, no phone number, no email, no way to follow up with those customers that I wasn't actually interacting with face-to-face. And I love the fact that when we get our orders through our Facebook shows, they come through our website, so we have full contact information. It's amazing, and we have a payment already. And so we can follow up with those customers, we can cross-sell, we can add on, we can connect with them, we can add them to our newsletter, we can book shows, book more shows.
That
too.
is
So-
awesome. Well, it certainly sounds simple enough, even for someone like me who is not as Facebook savvy as many of you in this room, and clearly the 3 of you. So,
Well, it's interesting that you say that because one thing you have to remember when you first started getting cooking shows, there's some consultants that know a lot of people, and you know they start their business, and some that only know 7. Right?
yeah.
You have to get out there and really work to build your business, right? You have to start making contacts. You have to be active on Facebook. You've got to take pictures of their food and start posting it. You have to start friending people, start searching for friends, or little things that fly around, right? But you have to start engaging on Facebook in order to have a successful Facebook party. So where it starts today may not be exactly where it's going to end a year from now. Maybe you have different results.
Patience is the key. If there's any advice I can give you, it's this. This is not an exact science. We are not saying that you are going to go home and get the results that you're hearing. It's just like those commercials that say results not typical. That can happen. I want to be honest and upfront and make sure that you understand that those things are really important, that you know that when you go home and you do this, you might have a $1,000 show in your first one. The next one might not even make it to $150. And you need to be prepared that there are things that you should ask yourself. You should ask yourself this: was my host actively engaged in the show? You know, did I encourage her? Did I give her that feedback that she needed? Did my guests interact? Did they catch up on their summer on the event wall? Did they talk about Sally going to school and Jimmy going to preschool? Did they say, I haven't seen you since preschool? Holy cow, you're going to buy Pampered Chef at the show? That's awesome. Those are the people that you just want to keep engaged and interacting. Here's the key. Did I overpost? Okay? Nothing drives me crazier, because I'm friends with a lot of you on Facebook, but nothing drives me crazier than sending 19 of the same photos to all shows in the same exact wording. Your guests see that as well. So just make sure that you're making sure you're not doing that and you're not overposting and inundating your guests, because you don't want to come across as buy.
Yeah.
You want to give them tips and tricks and recipes and ideas.
Wonderful
Well,
advice.
that is great advice. I know we're nearing the end of this segment, but I know, Desiree, you have some do's and don'ts for Facebook shows. You want to share those with the audience?
Absolutely. Do stick to the end date. Don't go longer than 10 days. People who order in the beginning are going to lose interest in the show. You want to make sure that you keep them engaged. What happens if you go 5 more days past payday? Someone's inevitably going to cancel their order because they've already overspent the money. Do limit your Facebook shows. You know, I max mine out at 10 at a time, 10 active shows at a time. If you're getting 30 or 35 bookings, that's awesome. I want to pat you on the back and say congratulations. But inevitably, someone is going to fall through the cracks. And those people deserve just as much of a time and respect than the first 10 that you had. And Facebook events, again, somebody will fall through the cracks. Do participate in the show. Don't rely on the host to carry it for you. As the consultant, you're not going to expect to drop off the groceries on the front door and say, hey, I'll be back in a few hours to collect the orders from your friends.
That's a really good point.
You know, and you just need to make sure that you're engaging with the guests as well, and making sure that you're answering questions. I get a lot of questions on the Facebook wall. How fast does the salad berry spinner go? You know, how long is the warranty on this product? You know, making checklists for yourself to actually give yourself that balance.
You know, I just want to mention, Desiree, you know, you make it sound, it's like this is proactive still. It's like a cooking show.
Yeah.
This isn't passive. You just don't slam it up there and it just kind of happens. No, it is very simple. You have to, again, be proactive and really make sure that it's working for that host. So,
and the last one is making sure your shows are private. I just, a few minutes ago, said to you that I see a lot of the same things in my newsfeed over and over again from some of you as consultants. If you're going to do that, and because we all know time is very important to each of us, and if that's the time that you've designated to do that, vary it up, please. You know, post a picture of this and then a different recipe here. So that way, if you're keeping your shows public, your public is actually seeing a variety of things. I usually give about 1 to 2 shows in a public setting because there will be people that are on your normal newsfeed or your friend list that want to place an order and don't necessarily want to host a show, and you can still grab those orders. I have grabbed a consultant, a new recruit, because I left a show open and she's like, holy cow, you're doing that? I could do that. And then I could probably do cooking shows after life settles down and the baby gets a little older. So Facebook shows are just like gravy. When you're making gravy, you have to stir it, right? If you don't stir it, it will burn. So it's just like that. You want to make sure that you're not leaving it on the stove and walking away from it, and you're going to come back to it. You know, just add this to incremental.
Exactly, and that's a perfect entree to what I want to say, and that is, you know, I think these Facebook shows are absolutely spot on. You know, as Desiree said, you know, Generation Y, there's so many people that, you know, either won't ever go to a cooking show, or again, this is just convenient for the time being. But you know what? Our cooking shows, bottom line, are our bread and butter. And, right? Thank you. It's where we get all of your leads. I mean, when I was talking to Annalie, I'd love for you to share some of your stats. So Annalie really watches.
I'm still learning. I'm still kind of learning how to do the Facebook shows better.
Still in recruitment.
I'm in training.
Yeah. But I love what you told me about your cooking show.
Yeah, you know, I'm seeing that I'm getting 2, 3, 4 bookings at my cooking shows where I was not seeing 2, 3, 4 bookings at my Facebook shows. I'm getting some, and I'm learning how to do that better. But yeah, it's the heart and soul of my business, my cooking shows. For
exactly. Sure. It's still where you have that face-to-face, that interaction, that social. But I love the fact that this does provide that incrementality, and it also provides, again, that great access to people that might not never go.
It's constantly evolving.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when I started this 3 years ago, I have learned so much from other consultants doing different things too. But Facebook is constantly evolving too. We get application updates, we get things like that, the event system changes. So it goes back to this, there's no exact science. I really want everyone to know that there's no exact science.
And so again, I'll just underscore, the worst thing that we could do as field leaders is to go back home and tell everybody that this is the direction we're going, right?
Absolutely not.
It's about, again, the cooking show, and again, looking at this to supplement. So, and maybe kind of kickstart somebody's business and kind of
that wouldn't necessarily have that, you know, I need to get my feet under.
I got to kind of get going. So
it's a great opportunity. I think about my 7 friends, and if they have 7 friends, well, that's almost 50 people.
You're right.
Each one of them. So
I think you're onto something, Tony. Well, I just want to take this opportunity to thank Annalie, Desiree, Duska. You guys have been just tremendous. Just thank you for sharing your great tips, techniques, the things that have helped you to be so successful, and now all these people have the same and can take it back home, most importantly, to their consultant. So thank you for, again, enjoying the dish.
That's all we're serving up on the dish today. Be sure to join us next time. We'll be visiting Top Sellers Live from the Cooking Show. Thanks, everybody.